All right, Samaria, there's obviously one glaring fumble of the week this week, but it won't serve me to speak on it anymore. So let's just keep it sports related. All right. Doc Rivers, he became the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks last year mid-season. The Bucks fired Adrian Griffin, who had led the team to that point to a 32-14 record, and was actually named the coach of the Eastern NBA All-Star team that Doc ultimately ended up coaching. But ever since Doc has taken over this team, it has been one of the worst in all of basketball. Doc is now just 19-26 in his tenure as head coach, and the team just looks awful this season. They are 1-6 to start the year, and while they are still missing Chris Middleton, there is no excuse for a team with Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo to be this terrible. Until you remember that Doc Rivers is the head coach. Now, Doc did win a championship in 2008 with the Bucks, but since then, he's had a long record of being ass, if I can just be honest. He has lost more 3-1 leads in the playoffs than any coach in NBA history. His teams routinely shit the bed in key moments. His offense is terrible. His rotations make zero sense. And he perpetually just looks lost, especially now that he's sitting next to Darvin Ham on that bench. He holds back young players from flourishing. See Tyrese Maxey and Rajon Rondo, and he's one of the few people in the league who has yet to realize that basketball is a young man's sport. Flat out, Doc is a bad coach, but the Bucks are stuck with him because they're already paying two other previously terminated coaches in the aforementioned Griffin and the coach who won them their second championship in franchise history in Mike Budenholzer. Both of those men are still on the payroll, and Mike was fired just a few months before Adrian Griffin. Also, Doc had this to say in the wake of the election. Donald Trump is our president, and we're going to have to support him. We want him to do the best job for our country at the end of the day. Did I like that rally at Madison Square Garden? No. But he's getting a second chance to be a better president than he was the first time, and I hope he is. I'm cheering for him. I really am. Doc Rivers, please hold this fumble. Samaria, what are your thoughts on one, his reaction to Trump's winning of the presidency, and also, do you feel like the Bucks are a championship contender this season?
No, I think a lot of eyes were on the 76ers, but you didn't even look in Milwaukee. It's bad. It really is bad. Like, do you even feel like he's utilizing Lillard the best?
You know what? Damian Lillard has had some high-scoring games. There was a game earlier this season. I think Giannis had 41, Dame had 36, and they still lost.
I just don't know how you can fumble this much talent. And you did mention that Middleton is out, but still, they're the Milwaukee Bucks. They have to be playing better than this. I don't understand. Now this is their second season with this roster. Why haven't you gotten things together? Why are things not gelling the way that you would think that a team would gel with the amount of talent that they have on the roster? I'm not really sure.
Well, because this is what Doc does. When he was in LA with the Clippers, they never got over the hump, right? He's just somebody who he has limits. He has a limitation. He cannot excel past a certain point with the team. I was a huge 76ers fan because Tobias Harris is one of my close friends. And so I watched all these games. I watched how terrible he managed that roster. I watched his in-game sets. Like there's no rhythm or rhyme to his offense. He does have some solid defensive schemes, but I think that NBA offenses this season especially have evolved beyond what his defenses are normally predicated to do. Whatever, he's a bad coach. There's no getting around it. You know, I salute the fact that he won a championship, but it doesn't mean that he's a great coach, right? You have Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett. Like, you should win a championship. So he's never done anything that he wasn't supposed to do, as it pertains to winning a championship, right? So I do want to talk about his reaction to the election. And a big part of democracy is the people to be resistant to, for lack of a better word, bad energy and bad juju. So yes, Donald Trump will be our president, and we do hope and desire for him to be a phenomenal leader for this country. But support does not look blind. It does not mean that we are silent, because silence is a form of complicit whenever, should he ever do anything that is counter to the country, to what this country says it's supposed to be. Which is a beacon of light in this world, but also a place where people from near and far can achieve wild dreams. And so if our president is going to suppress and oppress people from having the opportunity to achieve dreams, then I'm not supporting it. I don't care if he's the president or not, because that's not what democracy is. And so I think there was a much different language that Doc Rivers could have chosen to use. But again, if he's a bad coach, that means he generally does not have the right thing to say. So I wouldn't expect him to get that right either.
I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. I don't know if he was just trying to say something that was positive and, make people feel somewhat happy about the election results if you didn't think happy about them. But like you said, it can't just be a blind support. We can't just sit back, or people shouldn't sit back and just support someone because they're the president. Like you're right. Like you have to kind of step up and have some sort of pushback, especially with someone like Donald Trump. So I don't really know what Doc Rivers was trying to say. Maybe he'll come back and clarify.
Yeah, you know what? And also, and this applies to comments both good and bad, right?
Yeah.
That are both positive and negative. Man, sometimes just let people process. Like, let people process the emotions that they feel, whether that's joy or sadness from the results of the election, without trying to tell them how they should move and operate. We hadn't even had a real chance to figure out how we felt about things, to let all of our tears flow, or let our laughter be as boisterous as we desire for it to be because of the outcome of the election. But there's this thing that people, celebrities especially, they have this like self-important main character syndrome where they feel like they have to say something right out the gate when people are still processing. It's okay to shut up and give people a couple of days to just figure things out. And I think that there needs to be less self-importance in the celebrity sphere than there has been. So I also want to acknowledge that. It doesn't matter whether you said something good or negative. Everybody just needed to take a moment to really process what took place on Tuesday. But y'all let us know your thoughts in the comments section. How do you feel about my fumble of the week being Doc Rivers, both for the abhorrent job that he's doing as the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, but also his comments on the election? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.